How's everybody doing? This is a DVD update for pickups. I'm also going to be doing a new segment every week called Shoutout of the Week. So watch for that at the end of this video. This is going to be technically my first Shoutout of the Week. Now let's get on to the pickups. First up is Infestation. I just randomly saw a trailer for this on another DVD and I was like, this looks awesome. It looks right up my alley. Looks all kinds of fun. So I decided to pick it up and check it out, and I'm so glad I did. This was a blind buy and totally worth it. Just a lot of fun. It's basically a sci-fi horror comedy. I did a review on this, so if you want to check out the review, watch that review right here. Click on this annotation and let me know what you think of the review. And if you've seen the movie, definitely leave me a comment down below and let me know what you think of it. I think this was a lot of fun, and if you enjoy low-budget sci-fi horror comedy movies, definitely check it out. Highly recommend it. I loved it. But my only beef with it is that the ending could have been better. Kind of left you hanging. I know the director wanted to set up a sequel, but you need more publicity. You can't count your eggs before they hatch, you know? You should have done more publicity for it, and you definitely could have had a sequel going on. I would still watch a sequel. Next up is The Dark, starring Maria Bello and Sean Bean. I actually got this by mistake. I had ordered Tobe Hooper's 1978 or 1979 sci-fi horror movie, and the merchant seller that I purchased it from sent me this one instead. They actually refunded me the order and said to keep it, so there you go. I watched it, and it had a lot of promise. It kind of seemed like it didn't know where it wanted to go. Towards the end, it kind of got all kind of mixed up. It's basically about Welsh mythology and Whim, I believe it was called. It's basically a place that's not quite heaven or hell. It's kind of like a middle ground, and it just told about the story about somebody who lost their daughter, and they got people to jump into the water and bring the daughter back, but the daughter came back kind of with something else there with her, kind of evil, and it just goes on from there. The tagline is one of the living for one of the dead, and at the end, like I said before, it kind of seemed like it didn't know where it really wanted to go. It was a little kind of mixed up. And one thing I have a question, if anybody's seen this movie, at the very end they show a face, and I want to know what your guys' opinions on who you think the face was. Was it the shepherd? Was it Sean Bean? Who do you think it was? Let me know, please, because I had a discussion with this, and you know, had differing opinions on it. But overall, I didn't really enjoy this movie. It kind of felt like The Ring. So many scenes of this movie made me think of The Ring, and The Ring I thought was way better. So I give this movie probably about a, I don't know, probably about a 4.5 out of 10. It was about average, but the ending kind of irritated me a little bit. And Infestation I gave an 8.5 out of 10. It would have been a 9, but the ending part kind of bothered me again as well. It kind of left it hanging for the sequel, and I think it shouldn't have ended that way personally. And next up is 2008's Amusement. A YouTuber recommended this to me, and I tried to figure out who it was. I was going through my videos to see who left me a comment about it, and I couldn't remember who it was. I couldn't find it. I went through a whole bunch of videos, couldn't find the comment. So whoever you are, please let me know down below. I really do apologize for not being able to find the comment. And thank you for this recommendation. I actually did enjoy it. I actually saw this movie a lot in my local Blockbuster, and I always passed it by because the cover is a creepy clown. I'm usually disappointed in creepy clown movies. They don't really freak me out. Like the movie It, I saw it when I was older, so it didn't maybe have that same effect if I would have watched it as a kid. Because when I watched it when I was older, I was just like, this is lame. All this hype for this movie? I don't know. I didn't really care for the movie It. I know a lot of people were freaked out by it, but maybe, like I said, if I saw it as a kid, maybe I would have had a different opinion on it. But Amusement is basically about a killer nicknamed The Laugh because of his crazy, creepy laugh. And you find out that he's killing off all these girls from his past, from his youth. They show a flashback in the middle of the movie, and from that point on, you can instantly tell who the killer is and what the movie's about. And basically it goes on these little storylines from each person, and basically it goes how he tricks them and kills them essentially, or traps them. And there was some creepy scenes, like the clown scene was totally creepy. I will fully admit, like I said, clowns don't usually creep me out, but that one scene really did creep me out. The guy was dressed up in this costume right here, and if you watch the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. Now there was a lot of plot holes in this movie that really bothered me, but overall there showed a lot of promise. I would love to see more from this director and from the people that did the visuals and the effects of this movie. They did a great job on this. The killer in this movie, The Laugh, his name is Keir O'Donnell. He's been in a bunch of different things. He was in Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He was in an episode of that, which I thought was great. I love that show. He was also in Wedding Crashers as the brother. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. He was also in The Breakup, I believe, as the brother as well. So he plays creepy really well. And also Tad Hilgenbrink, who's also in the very first scene of this movie. He was in American Pie, Band Camp. He was in Lost Boys, The Tribe, and he was also in The Hills Run Red. So he's been in a bunch of stuff, so it was good to see him, and he was a familiar face as well. And I thought this movie showed a lot of promise, but again, the plot holes really bothered me, and I would like to see more from them. And the ending really bothered me again. I've been complaining about the endings of these last 3 movies. Now, I don't want to spoil this, but I'm going to kind of say a little something real quick. The ending, I don't need a happy ending. In fact, I kind of prefer when the endings aren't happy, as long as they're well done. And you think the ending is going to be a certain way when something happens, and I'm like, cool, that's an awesome ending. This movie just got better for me. But then something else happens right at the end, and I'm like, oh, come on. That is so lame, in my opinion. I was so disappointed in that ending, the way it ended. It was so improbable. Everything about that. And then, I don't want to give anything away, but that ending really pissed me off. I thought it would have been so much better if it would have gone how you expected it to go at first, when it led you to believe it was going to end this way, but then something changed. And I would have preferred if it didn't happen that way. But if you've seen this movie, definitely let me know what you think of it. I enjoyed it a lot more than I was expecting to. I was expecting this was going to be a crap movie, and I thought I wasn't going to like it. I got this for a penny on Amazon, and then $2.98 shipping. Well worth it. If you can get this for a good price, definitely pick it up. I would give it probably about a 7 out of 10. It showed a lot of promise. I wish there wasn't so many plot holes, but in the ending, I wish the ending would have been different. But overall, very decent addition to my horror collection. This is definitely one of those movies that you just put on, don't think about, and just enjoy the ride kind of movie. And speaking of rides, the next movie I picked up was Dark Ride. And it's one of the 8 Films to Die For movies. The movie stars Jamie Lynn Sigler. Everybody, of course, knows her as Meadow from The Sopranos. And it stars Patrick Renna, who is the red-haired, freckled, chubby kid from The Sandlot. You play baseball like a girl. Come on, you gotta love The Sandlot. Everybody loves The Sandlot. If you haven't seen The Sandlot, definitely check that out. It's a fun coming-of-age movie about baseball, and just such a fun movie. And it also stars Alex Solowitz, who you might remember from MTV's Together. It was kind of like a parody on boy bands, and I thought it was a fun show back in the day, and he did a pretty decent job in this as well. At least I thought so. Now, right from the intro of this movie, I knew exactly where it was. I didn't know this in the first place. It was at Asbury Park in New Jersey, and there's a picture of a sign, and I was like, it's a very recognizable sign. If you're from New Jersey, you should recognize it. And basically it's about a killer who, some years earlier, he killed a bunch of people on this ride that he lived in. He lived inside the ride, and he goes to a mental institution for the rest of his life. And of course he escapes the mental institution, and he goes back to the dark ride right when it's spring break for all the college students. And the group of these kids, they get together and decide they're going to go for spring break, but they decide to stop at the dark ride and check everything out, because it's going to be reopening after all these events happened years earlier. And right when this is going on, I'm always thinking about movies. I'm always trying to figure them out while still enjoying them as well. And I knew right away the twist of who the one character turned out to be. And again, this is another issue I had with the ending. The ending just seems so improbable to me. I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to really give it away, but I was really disappointed in this movie. This was, you know, I love movies where it starts out with a group of kids going on a road trip kind of thing. I love those kind of slasher-esque kind of movies. And this just didn't do it for me. The acting was hit or miss with a lot of them. And there's some familiar faces, which was good to see. I thought the actor who played Steve did a really poor job. I think most of the other lead actors did pretty well. But Steve really brought the movie down a little bit, in my opinion. No offense, character who played Steve, David Clayton Rogers, no offense. I just didn't dig this performance. Maybe you have better stuff up your sleeve, I don't know. Hopefully. But this movie just, I don't know, the acting wasn't really up to par. Like I said, it was hit or miss. And it just didn't fully take off. And again, the ending was just so improbable and just crappy. I don't know if they're planning to do a sequel again. It's one of those things where if you're planning to do a sequel, that's fine, but don't leave it where it's just so obvious, you know? Don't count your eggs before they hatch, come on. I could not recommend this one. I would give this a 4 out of 10. Really disappointed in this one. And a lot of the 8 Films to Die For are just way overhyped. You know, they're so graphic. No, they're not. Not all of them are very good, in fact. And this is one of those cases. There's also a scene, again, another surprising nudity. Well, I guess it's not really surprising. I guess it was kind of be expected, but there's nothing else. There's no other nudity in the whole movie. Andrea Bogart played Jen, who's a hitchhiker who they pick up. There's a scene where she gets nude for a brief second, and I wasn't kind of expecting it only for the fact that there's no other nudity. A lot of old school slashers and horror films, they have a whole bunch of nudity thrown throughout. but there's just like one quick scene. It almost seems unnecessary, but whatever. It was a quick scene. And I will say the scene after that where she gets nude and there's a scene where she's basically performing fellatio. I'm going to try to be PC on that. And you see the killer comes up behind her and cuts her head off, kind of thing. That scene was kind of entertaining just because it was humorous. It was tongue-in-cheek, if you will. No pun intended there. But overall, again, I did enjoy this. 4 out of 10 for me. If you've seen this movie or any of these movies, please let me know what you think of them. These are my pickups. Dark Ride. Amusement. This was much better than I was expecting. I definitely want to see more from everybody involved in this one. This was a very fun movie, actually. There's a lot of plot holes, but you got to look past the plot holes to fully enjoy it. 7 out of 10 for me out of that. The Dark, very disappointing again for me. Basically, it's Maria Bello just screaming a lot throughout the movie. But I did like the fact of the Welsh mythology. I thought that was a neat aspect, but it could have done more with it. There's so much promise there, but they just didn't live up to it. So I'd give this one a 4.5 out of 10 on that one. Slightly below average. And Infestation, this was the gem of the group. I'm so glad I picked this up and did a blind buy for it. Totally worth it. Love this movie. If you're into low-budget sci-fi horror comedy movies, definitely check this out. To me, this was like Shaun of the Dead meets Them, the 1954 sci-fi giant bug movie. Definitely check this one out if you're into that. 8.5 out of 10. It would have been a 9, except for, again, the ending. Again, I've complained about like the endings for all these movies, but I think for good reason, in my opinion. If you've seen these movies, I think you would agree with me. And now on to the Shoutout of the Week. I'm going to do a Shoutout of the Week every week, usually towards the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I'm going to shout somebody out who deserves it. And there's so many deserving people on here. There's going to be no shortage of users, so I'm looking forward to spreading the love out, because if it wasn't for all the users who supported me, I would still be making videos. And a lot of people on here deserve support, so I'm going to shout people out who I think deserve it. If I like your content, or if I think you're just a good person, you're getting a shout out, you're getting some love. And so this is going to be my first, technically my first shout out of the week. I've done a lot of shout outs recently, but this is going to be my first shout out of the week officially. And that goes to It Girl X Ragdoll, Farron. She's really awesome. She does movie reviews. She does a little some little piano recently as well. She's very talented. Definitely check out her page. I'm gonna put a little annotation right here, so you can just click the annotation, and it'll bring you to her page. She's really cool. She does movie reviews. Does a little piano on there. She's into horror movies. Definitely check her out. She's really nice. She's quirky. She's fun. Check her out. I wouldn't recommend her unless I thought it was a good choice and that you guys would enjoy it as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed my DVD update. If you've seen any of the movies, definitely let me know what you think of them. And check out Infestation. And also, I would say check out Amusement as well. It's not perfect, but it's still enjoyable. But definitely check out Infestation. This is enjoyable. This is a lot of fun. And hope everybody's doing well. Take care.